Alright everybody, DJ Fedora here for We Are Everywhere, and today we're going to talk about some things. I had promised in my initial beginnings of this channel that it was going to be about everything, hence the name We Are Everywhere. So I want to hit on a little bit of everything, a little bit of everywhere. So we're going to go into something that has just recently happened, and it hits really close to home, and it's really kind of scary. This morning in our neighborhood at 3:30 a.m., a woman shot and killed her fiance in self-defense. And it happened literally right one street over from where we live. And that is really scary. And I think you would agree. And so the thing I want to talk about today is just how scary and crazy this world is getting. And I think it's important to talk about this because it hits on so many different levels. So many different levels that we can't even begin to find the fatal flaws in our own arguments when it comes to what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable in today's society. Let's look at the bigger picture as a whole. Let's look at just the question of how bad has violence gotten in today's world. So let's look at that in today's discussion. How bad has violence gotten in today's world? Some people will say that it's no more violent now than what it was way back 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago. I think I would beg to differ on that. I will definitely say that the types of violence that are occurring is definitely different because of two things: technology and society as a whole. Let's talk about technology. Technology is a blessing, but it can also be a horrible, horrible thing when it comes to people. Technology gives us many wonderful gifts. It gives us transportation. It gives us flight. It gives us communication. It gives us entertainment. It gives us just so many different things. I mean, I could go on and on and on about what society and how technology affects it, but mainly what it gives to us as people in society. So, technology. Back 2,000, 3,000 years ago, we didn't have guns like we do today. We didn't have missiles, ballistics. We didn't have explosive devices like we do today. Heck, way back when, it was amazing when China and all the Orient over there basically brought about the invention of black powder and made it into something that can be used as a explosive in fireworks and in war. With the invention of black powder, there goes police sirens right now as I talk about violence. Yeah, so I wanted to stop that video for just a second because those police sirens were getting closer in our neighborhood. I would assume probably has something to do with the fact that we just had a shooting this morning at 3:30 a.m. But yeah, let's look at that for a second. Black powder, great invention, allowed for beautiful things like fireworks. So there's the beauty in the technology. Beautiful fireworks. These things that go up in the sky and burst into wonderful, beautiful colors that keeps us entertained and makes us come together as people to enjoy things. And then you've got the damage, the destruction, the sheer evil in the black powder that people who aren't thinking quite along the same lines as everybody else will use to cause death and destruction. Technology has grown in today's society. We've gone from computers that took this huge, massive rooms with tape reels this big running back and forth, hundreds of these things to make simple calculations into computers like this. And this is a computer. So anybody that says, no, that's just a phone, no, I'm sorry. This is a computer. You can do things with this phone that I couldn't do with an IBM computer just 25 years ago. I'm almost 40 years old. And when I was 14 to 15 years old, computers were barely powerful enough to be a word processor. And it could do simple graphics and simple commands and make some simple sounds and some simple music with the do. And we're not even talking about Atari, Nintendo. We're talking about letters and big boxes for games that moved around. Pong style stuff. Okay? For those of you who don't know what Pong are, all you little kids out there that may be watching this, go look it up. You'll be amazed that we actually had fun with that at one time. So technology grows. With technology becomes more and more powerful things that can maim us, tear us up, kill us. But that also evolves as society evolves. We become more and more unable to control our own emotions. I really believe that society, people as a whole, cannot control their emotions as well as we could just 76 years ago, in the 40s, well, in the 30s, 40s, and the 50s. Those were the golden years of society, as far as I'm concerned. When you look back at it, yes, there was violence. You can't say there wasn't violence. There's always been violence. But it was truthfully a time when people valued morals above all. When people questioned right and wrong. You had families that would dress up and go to church. People dressed up nice to get on a plane or a bus. Yes, there was segregation. Yes, there were issues back then. When has there never been issues with society? But we grew as a whole. Because even though there was segregation back then, the African American communities, the white Caucasian communities, the Hispanic communities, the Asian communities, they all had a higher moral value. They all did. So even though we as people segregated the Asians, the African Americans, and so on, we all still had higher morals. Murder rates have steadily risen over the years. Suicide rates have steadily risen over the years. All these things have steadily risen over the years. But we got to look at something. there is a constant theme to these things that are rising and rising and rising. What is dissipating and going away as these things are rising? Number one, morals. Our morals are shot. We even question today whether a man and a woman is actually a man and a woman nowadays. We have to look and question and wonder if this man is going to walk into a woman's restroom, or this woman is going to walk into a man's restroom, because they are confused about their own gender identity. Now, does that mean they're terrible people? No, not at all. Never. People are people, and they deserve to be able to live their lives happy and content and free from any kind of segregation, violence, discrimination, all of that. Everybody has a right to live away from that. But as our morals have been going away, something else has been gradually going away too, and that is religion. Religion as a whole. I don't care if you're a Buddhist. I don't care if you're a Christian. I don't care if you are Wiccan. That's your own prerogative. I know what I am. That's my own prerogative. But religion as a whole is declining. And that is the problem. So, will that honestly fix society if there's more religion? If we get more in touch with that great question of, is there somebody out there? Which I believe that there is. I believe we're going to be held accountable for our decisions when we die. I believe that we have somebody that died for us on the cross 2,000 years ago, 2016 years ago. But I'm not going to tell you that's what you need to believe. However, we do need to raise our moral values up. We do need to get that side of society back in line with what we had in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And yes, maybe part of that was because of the Great Depression that had occurred. It brought society together as a whole. But regardless, the morals and the values were there. Today, they're not. And this is why we have to worry about things across the street like this. So, I ask you, what are you going to do as a person to help and try and bring these values back to America, to the world? You can only do what you feel is necessary for yourself. But maybe, just maybe, if we started to ask this question more, what can we do to bring these morals back? Maybe, just maybe, we might be able to start making a difference again instead of further declining like we are every day, every week, every month, every year. So let's see what we can do. We can't lose at this point. That's definitely for sure. And hey, who knows? Maybe, just maybe, we'll make some ground. But until we can find out, and until we can talk again, keep in mind that we aren't anonymous, but we are everywhere. And until we see you again, we bid thee farewell. Good night.